Hello, this is David Friedman for TCA Crossroads, and I'm with my co-host, Dave Burkus. This is where entrepreneurs and investors connect. How are you, Dave?
I'm doing fine. I missed you. It's been all this time since we've had a chance to talk last time to this time. We have a guest coming this time.
Yeah, this one's going to be exciting. This is actually a client of mine, Erica Solis. I call it Poppy Life Club, but it's really Poppy Life Care. And I was excited when I heard the name Poppy Life because it reminded me of my youth. But this was about mental health and wellness.
Very good. And I'd like to hear more about that. As you know, I run a company on the side that is very much involved with that. So good.
Well, we're going to bring Erica on right now. I'm adding her. Good afternoon, Erica. How are you today?
Erica.
Hello there, Dave and David. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here and excited to talk more about investors and entrepreneurs connecting.
Good. Just call us Double D.
Double D. I like it. All right. Double trouble.
I'm glad I'm not going to play stand-up comedian right now on that one, but okay.
I was going to say, that's funny.
I can't touch those jokes anymore. But Erica, I was just explaining that you're with Poppy Life Care, although I keep calling it Poppy Life Club, which could be a good name for a community within your business. But I'd like to set up the scenario for today, which would be really, I think, an interesting one for the viewers. Dave is an angel investor and one of the best that I know. Very well regarded in the community. I'd like to set it up so you and Dave are going to be in a very long elevator. This is in the Burj Khalifa, really high up there. And I'm going to ask you questions about your business, and I want you just to interchange ideas and, in a sense, do a very long elevator pitch, but share with us, how you came up with Poppy Life Care. What were some of the challenges? And these are the things we'll get into. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Burkus.
I keep thinking of Tom Cruise on the window outside as you keep talking about that property. But good enough. I think we will understand that a long elevator pitch might be the right thing to begin with. So Erica, can you describe the business for us? Tell us if you can, in a short mantra, and then give us the length that we really have to hear.
Okay. So Poppy Life Care is an integrative, holistic mental health support group, integrating things like mindfulness, meditation, movement therapy, nutritional counseling, and wellness coaching, all customized to the client and reimbursable under health plans. That's the short version. Happy to give you a little bit of the longer version if you'd like me to.
That's a good one. It makes me think of a couple of things. This is a service business.
That's right. Yes.
As a service business, we always ask the question about how do you scale it?
That's a very good question. So we do have a digital platform we built. And so in that digital platform, we see all clients virtually. So in order to scale it, we are really creating a community of holistic providers that we can sort of hire on demand, if you will, sort of like a gig model, right? The Uber type model, where then we can provide our services to clients as they wish, right? So sort of a matching program within that. And it gives accessibility to the clients, right? It increases affordability, and it's really good for the provider, right? So a lot of providers these days are doing multiple gigs. This is a really easy way for them to connect in our platform, connect with patients, and we take care of the rest. So.
Okay, so these are independent contractors.
Correct.
That you're bringing aboard. Before I ask the next question, it really is begging the question about the quality.
Yes.
As you grow and have these independent contractors, how do you vet them?
Yeah, another very good question. And so right now we have a really tight onboarding process. Of course, we're still a startup, right? Funding is going to help us tighten that up even more. We also have a developing database and wait list for providers. So we're building a network, right? So a network of providers where we have, their profile information, what their credentials are, what their experience is, length of experience, and there will be many criteria that they have to meet to even be eligible to, meet with clients one-on-one.
Help us with how big you are. What is your current revenue and how are you growing?
Yes, good question. So we are currently making about $35,000 to $40,000 in monthly reoccurring revenue. We've grown over 400% this year. So we've seen tremendous growth. I've had such great mentors and advisors like David along the way. So, thank you, David. Thank you, David, so much.
This is just David, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
David Friedman.
One over on the other, side.
The other David, right?
Yes. And so, so we've really been growing it. It's been organic growth. I spent $150 this year on marketing, and really we've grown through word of mouth, which, as you know, in the founders world, that's gold, right? So we've organically grown, and we're on our way to, doubling that even by end of year. So my goal is to get to $100,000 in monthly reoccurring revenue.
So, I'm an angel investor, and David said that very clearly a while ago. And what you just said a minute ago is you're doing this organically and you're not taking outside capital. Is that what I understood?
Well, we're doing this organically. We have taken outside capital, but this is also, Dave, this is my 5th startup. This is the 3rd company I've built from the ground up. Yes. So that, as the investor landscape, the startup landscape has shifted. Investors are more conservative. Again, I have great mentors along the way. And so what I've really been focused on is, yes, getting capital, but mainly making money. Right? The more money we make, the more access to good capital we get, right? And it's a win-win for the investor. It's a win-win for me, right? I've been fortunate enough to get us to a point where we're just continuing to grow. And so for capital, that's going to help us expand this more quickly and more efficiently, right?
All right. Well, the fact that you're keeping equity as you grow is so good. I made all of my money by having 95% of my company when I finally sold it.
Wow.
And had I done, in the usual sense, the VC route, I would have probably had 25% of the company.
Very true.
So the difference is astounding if you can keep it. And in service businesses, they're hard to finance. So you may find yourself having to do this, but organic growth, of course, is good. So glad to hear that. Tell us more about the business itself, if you can, about the marketplace.
Yeah, so the marketplace, mental health, unfortunately, has continued to increase in terms of the need, right? Even before COVID, there's been a really, large rise in mental health challenges among youth, but across the board, right? Mental health challenges are agnostic. It doesn't matter if we're 15 or 55. And then post-COVID, we've seen even more of a drastic increase. As per Wall Street Journal last year, there's a 60% shortage of mental health providers nationwide, right? There's an 80% access issue. So there's a massive problem, a growing problem, and there's a lack of providers, resources, and accessibility. So although we are a service business, we are building technology on top of what we're doing to not only scale that, but to increase accessibility for clients, right? Because that's 80% of the problem is accessibility. So we're tapping into that as well. Does that answer the question?
Yes, it does. I have more to follow, but David comments in the chat, which you who are watching this can't see. He said we're already on floor 40 of this gigantic hall.
All right. Where are we going? Are we going to floor 100 or?
140, isn't it? It's really something very high.
Yeah, we're going to the helipad on top.
Okay, awesome.
Tom Cruise again. Okay, so I have been involved in mental health companies, and I'm really interested in knowing more about the actual services. Reinforcing that, I'm a trustee of a college. Almost 50% of the parents or the students themselves who come in as freshmen identify as having a mental need and make appointments early on so that they get their appointments with whoever the right clinician, or in some cases a doctor. And those things are not sustainable for either the college or for the students.
Yeah.
So how do you handle that in whatever level? Start with little kids and go all the way up through adults. This is a real national problem.
Yeah. So if I understand correctly, the question is, how do we handle the need, right? And with transitional age youth, and then also, what does that look like so it's sustainable long term?
That's a good way of rephrasing it. Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Just want to make sure. So yeah, you're right. It's very challenging. And this is actually where our digital platform makes it easier, because younger folks they're naturally trained to go to their mobile devices, right?
Yep.
Naturally trained to come straight here, right? They prefer going here than going to a physical location, right? Most of the time. And what we do is it is customized to that client. So another thing we incorporate, like I said, is like movement therapy, such as yoga or stretching, right? Breath work, meditation, nutritional counseling. We also teach these things in such a way so the client can practice this at home, right? We really want to empower folks and young adults to take control of their health, right? You don't necessarily need to come to a physical location. Let us teach you. Let's get you into a habit. Let's get you into a routine, a lifestyle that promotes health and wellness, right? So typically we see clients 3 days a week, right? So they'll see their yoga therapist, for example, their nutritional counselor, and maybe their wellness coach. And they will have that customized plan to them. We also make appointments 30 minutes long. We do that on purpose too. Sometimes an hour is hard to carve out of the day. Depending on what people are going through, it can feel like a long time too, right? We're flexible in that, but we find that the sweet spot is 30 minutes.
What you're describing, and I want to make sure that our viewers understand, is telehealth.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So you may have these extra practitioners who you hire, but they can be very, very efficient. A half-an-hour appointment followed by another half-an-hour appointment. There's no travel between the two.
Exactly.
And that means fewer people doing more work and making more money for you. So I'm glad to see that. Good. It helps with the scaling question.
Yes, and it serves the client really well. Again, we do offer in-person as well. So if they want to come in person, that's absolutely. But for the repetition and the consistency, again, oftentimes getting just to their phone is a whole lot easier than getting in the car, driving to a physical location.
Oh, I got that.
Carving out an hour and a half, 2 hours of their day. I kind of explain it as we're building muscles, right? And if I want big biceps, right? If we want big biceps, we can't go to the gym one time a month and be like, okay, my biceps are going to get huge. Or if I want like a 6-pack, same concept, right? I got to probably go to the gym like 3 days a week. And then after some months, my biceps might get or I'm going to have like a 6-pack. So similar concept, right? We're building muscles, emotional, mental, physical, muscles, and they take time to build. Right. And we don't want to rush that process. That process looks different for everybody. So we find telehealth is actually not only preferred, but extremely effective in that.
And I understand that, and scalable, as we've said now twice.
Yes, and scalable. So that's true too.
Okay. So most entrepreneurs that do well are ones who would accept coaching. Yes. And coaching is a very big part of this, especially if you haven't done this before, although I've heard you have. So I want to bring David into the conversation because I understand that David is your coach. Am I wrong?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it may be reversed, but nevertheless.
One of my favorites, by the way. So.
Yeah, it's like I have when I coach Erica, I get like my therapy session at the same time. So it works out well on both ends.
That works. But aside from therapy, are you actually getting more business understanding from her as well?
I think it's important to understand the way the entrepreneur thinks. That helps us as investors, and it also helps me with the coaching. Remember, this is a two-sided marketplace with a variety of services that can be used by everybody, including myself, you. In the corporate world, stress reduction is a big issue. We're seeing a variety of deals coming through, like Sensate for stress reduction technology. So I think this is a good complement to understand it. but also it's a pleasure working with Erica because we have a give and take. And I think that's really the key issue in the consulting and in the advising, because I may say something, have you tried this? Or here's an idea. We were talking the other day about community. How do we build community? And we talked, offline. We said, well, how about Poppy Life Club? Because I screwed up the name, unfortunately. But it turned
I
out
was like,
to be
hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, because you want to build this community of people and not just have a one-on-one relationship with a digital avatar of sorts, but you want to have a relationship with other people because the people can help generate the excitement and the energy that lets you survive and flourish in a world that's getting more complex. But tell me, what was your experience in consulting? You've worked with the Small Business Development Center in Orange County, the Launchpad at SBDC. Did you find that they're useful? Forget what we've done, but you've talked to other people as well, have you not?
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to mention on the Poppy Life Club, just real quick, like you said with community, like I completely agree that connection is so healing, right? And like you said, the world is getting more complicated every day and we are getting more digital, which is great, but that connection is so, we all need human connection. It's one of the most healing things we can get. So anyways, just side note. And yes, the SBDC and the Women's Business Center, Octane, I've met some fantastic individuals like you, David. And I've worked with Bill Waldo and Tapasia and a couple of other folks that have been extremely helpful, made connections, helped me with my deck, helped me brainstorm different things, give me some ideas, it helped me with pitch events. I got to do that one pitch event with the Women's Leadership Forum, I think it was.
Marriott, right.
Yeah, and we won $1,000. So hey, that's pretty cool.
Hey.
And it great free money is always good. And it was also really great in terms of visibility. The mayor was there, a few investors were there, so it was really really helpful as well.
So I have a quick question for you. What are the challenges you have in trying to gain? I know you've self-funded to now and you have selected investments, but what do you see from an entrepreneur point of view, the challenges, and how are you dealing with the challenges of raising capital, growth capital, because you will eventually need that to grow substantially?
Yeah, that's a really good question too. So challenges in terms of the business and then challenges in terms of funding, or both?
Both.
Both.
Take whichever one you want.
Okay, so with the business, and it kind of actually coincides with the funding because it's really capacity sometimes, right? As we know, when we're starting a business, it takes a lot of energy, time, energy, blood, sweat, tears, all of that, right? So, and I've been very focused on making money, growing the company, outreach. I have a great venture capital partner. Expert Dojo has been phenomenal. They've invested.
Great.
They are a great investor partner. They're very invested.
Well.
What's that? Yes, Brian's fantastic. Everybody over there. And what I love is they're so invested in our success, and they've made great connections as well. So, I've really been focused on the outreach. That obviously impacts my capacity. And sometimes in the investor space, the founder space, we can get a little lost in pitch events, right? And it can take a lot of time, like just doing all these pitch events and working on the pitch deck and reaching out to investors. It's like some people spend like 80% of their time, founders, doing that. And I'm spending 80-90% of my time building the business, 5-10% of my time doing outreach to investors, right? So I find that it's a balance. And one of my challenges is because a lot of investors do see it as a service platform instead of a digital platform, right? And so kind of getting that message across has been a bit of a challenge. And then showing them how quickly this can scale can sometimes be a challenge too. And that just sometimes takes time, because like any relationship, an investor relationship takes time. You build trust, right? In my experience, it doesn't just happen day one. For some folks it might, but it's a relationship that requires trust and consistency. And at least for me, that's really important. And alignment is also really important. I want to, work with people I enjoy and trust and have fun with.
Because I did misunderstand the business at first. Remember, I asked you about scalability.
Mhm.
So I would have you rethink the mantra, maybe, that you are a single sentence that tells us that it's highly scalable, because that'll impress anybody.
Yeah, so that might be something I need to work on. There is like that elevator pitch to include the digital component, right?
Yes, that's
Because
what
I've always said too, is I've built the company instead of building a mobile app or a technology and then going and trying to fit it into the existing healthcare, infrastructure. I've done it reversed. I've said, okay, I'm going to fit into the existing healthcare structure, right, with a digital telehealth platform. And then we're going to build more technology on top of that, right, a mobile app. So then it's even more scalable. But now I'm in, now we've got health plan contracts, we've got CPT codes, and we're fitting in the existing structure instead of introducing a completely different new technology and saying, hey, try and fit this in your the way you do things. Does that make sense?
So one of the things, I was just playing off of what Dave said, and I got real excited because I was thinking of what we can do. I'm thinking of a digital Jiminy Cricket, but in essence, what you're really doing, it's your digital telehealth platform for mental health and general well-being. That's the essence of what you do.
100%. Yep.
Yeah. So we can play off of that when we go through our next coaching session, and we can maybe have some fun and include things like the Poppy Life Club and other services that would make you different than somebody else. We're going towards the end of our time, unfortunately. So what I'd like, Dave, you can ask the final question, and Erica, you can sum for the entrepreneur, and then I'll sum up for the show.
Cool.
David?
So you've had some exits before, and I'm curious to know what you're thinking about this. Growing this in belief that you have an exit coming, or growing this as a lifestyle business because income is everything? Tell me where you're coming from.
Oh gosh, that's a good question. My goal is to exit with this business in 2028. We have goals with a $400 million plus exit. That's the goal we're striving for. Yes. And that does include a lot of expansion to China and India as well. Now, can't predict the future, but that is my ultimate goal, is to exit with this company. And,
Had I known that you had that kind of a vision, which is a BHAG, I would have many more questions to ask about how you get there. But you're so impressive. You are so enthusiastic. You have what everybody knows we need in this country, around the world, that we could have another session at some point talking about how you get there from here.
I get my energy from Erica. It's like talking to an Energizer bunny on steroids, when I talk to Erica.
Really? Well, hey, I'll take it.
That goes to the rabbit comment that I was making way back when. But can you summarize for the entrepreneurs what the 3 or 4 things they should do as they build up their business?
Yes. I would say number 1, make sure you are passionate about it. You care about it, because there will be days that you don't want to do it. And surround yourself with great mentors, advisors. Huge. And, be coachable in that process, kind of leave the ego at the door, right? Number 3, focus on process. Focus on process and procedure. That is also really, really important in the beginning of a business, along with systems, making sure we're utilizing technology to grow the company, scale the company that much more. And then number 4, some people, there's a lot of mixed opinions on this. Should we work 15 hours a day and just completely ruin our health and no work-life balance? Yes and no. Some days, some weeks it requires that. Some weeks it requires a lot. But at the end of the day, you are the most important asset for this company. So you have to be taking care of yourself, number 1. And that is going to help you get through this process. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So we got to put ourselves first at the end of the day. Yeah.
And how do they find you, by the way, just for the audience, just in case they want to take advantage of Poppy Life Care?
Yeah, so you can go to www.poppylifecare.com. All of our social media is Poppy Life Care. You'll see our phone number. You'll see all our information. You can email me, erica@poppylifecare.org. And yeah, happy to be here. Thank you both so much for having me. I'm very grateful for the time.
It's absolutely a pleasure. I will catch you soon, I'm sure, because yes. Working with you has been just a delight, and I think the services you offered are superb. I just want to remind the viewers that if you're an entrepreneur, you can get help. It's courtesy of the Small Business Administration. Look up your nearest Small Business Development Center. The one that Erica uses is the Small Business Development Center in the Inland Empire in Orange County. Lots of great resources, great advisors, good coaches from a variety of backgrounds. With that in mind, I wish everybody a good day, and great to see you, Dave. Great to see you, Erica, and we'll catch up with you soon.